I also got down, I'm gonna get a cost from Cleveland Letter, which is one of the companies that mail.
They're the only ones, actually,
Okay.
really, that do it.
Mhm.
Any printer that you use will go through
Yeah.
Cleveland anyway. So let's see if we can get a better price.
I'll find out.
Let me check to see how many the mayor did last time. He missed a few people, and he sent it out late, which was not good. Okay, so we've got some newspaper things going. How about the churches?
Church in terms of what?
Our problem has been, even when we advertise there, is that there are not as many residents that attend the churches in Maple Heights.
Okay, so we skip the churches.
I think that's the reason. Like, we would go to church for the police and fire levies years ago. We would go to the churches because most of them were Maple Heights residents, but the majority are not. So people are coming, and our people are going other places.
Okay.
So I don't know that it would be worthwhile.
Okay.
Unless you're sure of a church that has a good
No.
resident population. That's just my opinion.
And when you mentioned robocalls, you know, there's a way of working through the union to use the robocalls, but I'm not sure that, you know, we would have access to it, but I can check.
Okay.
But people have to go down to the union and actually sit there and, you know, make the tape and do what needs to be done. But
You can do automated though, right? Like the school system does.
yeah, it can be, yeah.
Could you ask the schools if we could use theirs?
Yeah.
No, but that's not, I don't know. Last time I asked Charlie something,
No.
but I can check. See
Do
if
they
we
still
can
have
use theirs.
PTOs?
I don't know.
Okay,
You could ask Pam if they have the parent organizations, if they have their meetings that we could go to.
okay, so,
See, if you're gonna have a district, from everybody, now you gotta get the word out that you're gonna have a forum and where it's gonna be and so forth. Now you gotta get that word out. You know what I mean? And it'd be a good way to see how much interest you have.
you know, the other thing that we're not using is, number one, is the neighborhood news. They complain, you know, there's never anything in the neighborhood news, but you saw the front page today. It was excellent. And the whole thing on the back. So, you know, if you want to get into the neighborhood news, you have to send them the information.
Yeah.
Send them a letter, or have someone, how about somebody who's fairly active and coming to meetings or just involved, have them send letters. You know, get a little more active as far as supporting outside of the council. And also, Bill's got the website up and running pretty well. So we can absolutely start doing things on the website,
Which website?
City,
Maple Heights, Bill Branch.
yes. And mention it also, we'll mention it at the meeting as well.
You've got a couple of football games coming up, one of them being Friday.
John Adams,
Yeah.
seriously.
My nephew's the head football coach at Adams.
We tried to do some stuff at the football game several years back. That was interesting.
Could also just cause a lot of litter. I'm just saying, because you know you're there and to talk to people. I don't know if that would, can't even put them in the windshield
Well,
wipers.
The listing that you all got was interesting with the number of people who were not registered. All the signatures on the.
Is it this, all of
Yeah.
these
mhm,
that signed that weren't registered?
mhm.
Really?
Thought they were, but
No,
they were
not the whole
not.
thing. There was like 60 or 70.
Excuse me?
I think these are all the signatures.
Yeah, those are all the
Period.
signatures.
I think it's all of them that's on
Is
there.
it
but
all the
it
people that
was-
signed the
It was
petition?
quite a
Yeah, it
few.
was anybody that signed the petition.
Right.
Doesn't mean vote.
So those people we can call and find out if they'd be interested in registering. Any other suggestions other than who wants to work on the wording and whatever? Do you want to leave it up to couple people, anybody talented?
I think
Well, we
Linda
can
should
send it
help
around.
us out with the senior center one, just so that it bullet points the most specific thing that would be the best need that people out there want, that they don't want to lose. Did you get that?
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll help work on the wording.
I think first thing you need to do is get a quote from the printer on the size of them.
Yeah,
And then that limits what you can and cannot do.
your idea about the 5x7, that's not gonna be big enough. I can tell you that
For
right
like
now.
this,
No, that's
No,
good for
no,
paper.
if we do a mailer.
right, but you're advertising the levy forms.
But you know what,
Or are
think
you
back,
doing one
when you
to
get all
say
that crap
support
in
the
the mail,
levies?
do you look at any of it?
No, you
Or do
gotta
you just
get
take all the
people some
glossy
information.
stuff and throw it out?
Yeah.
I mean, is
No,
that best use of money rather than put that money into more advertising and flyers and distribution and talking to people? I throw out all the crap from the judges. I don't read the stuff. I'm just like everybody else. When you get 10, 12 of them, or 5 of them even in your mailbox,
Well, no, I actually.
I don't know, I mean-
look at it,
Well,
yeah.
you
to
have to
pull
word it.
6, 7 people
promote
in
it.
here, how many actually would read the literature that comes in the mail?
I read all
Yeah.
of mine, but yeah,
No,
but
yeah,
it's
no.
gotta be something to catch
Especially
you,
on it.
or catch their attention right away.
Well, it's been proven that the length of time from mailbox to eye to trash is about 5 seconds.
On some things.
The majority of things.
So what's a
So
better way to do it
That's
then?
the word, no, that's the wording
Yeah.
where it comes out, and that's what you have to, you gotta say, oh, hey, tax levy, right there. I mean, that right there
That's
says,
a
hey.
gotcha right there, that they're gonna read it.
Go ahead.
You know, it's just saying flyers walking. I mean, because,
What about those door knockers, door hangers?
They,
Would that
again,
be
they
better?
work on half the houses, but then you got houses where you don't have a doorknob, and even the handles on screen doors, they're not attached at the bottom, so they don't catch on anything.
Okay, all
I
right.
tried that one, and I ended up with a whole lot I could not use.
Okay, back to Tony's idea with soliciting people from the block watches to see if they could just, you know what else might work is small coffee pouches, that kind of thing.
Anything else?
Mhm.
Whatever works, everything
Yeah, whatever
works
works,
differently
yeah.
with the people that you know.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
I mean, but the main
Okay.
things are to promote the forums. The main things are to promote the forums,
The biggest crowd.
yeah.
Right, right, okay. I'll call Charlie tomorrow, and Kathy should be in tomorrow, and we'll get some ideas from Linda, concise, and then also we'll talk to
See,
the
the
printer.
forms will give you a better idea which way to go. Questions, their concerns, see how many people come.
see, that's the bingo right there, because if they get the literature in their mailboxes, they read it, they understand it, that's fine. If they come to the forum, the last one that we had, even the one for the property tax,
Mhm.
it was packed, but Ned Blackwell, how many rows of people did she bring with the hoodies? I remember, because they all had the same color hoodies. It was more people there presenting for a small crowd of 40 maybe, if that. It was disproportionate. So I think instead of having people come to you, I find like where I work, I need to go to them. I need to go to their functions, I need to go to their houses, because that's where people are already congregated. So if there's anything that's coming up that we could go to talk to people, or work the crowd, or pass out different sizes of things. I mean, if we make flyers, we should also see if we can make a half a flyer. So if you're going someplace, it's a smaller piece of paper. I'm at a function, I'm not gonna walk around with, what am I gonna do with this? You know, but it's something small, I can fold it in my pocket.
What about the chamber? Would it be helpful to call Larry and talk to the chamber people?
For an
Can't hurt.
endorsement or for assistance?
Both?
Both.
Both?
They have a stake in this too.
I mean, if they could put it, just something up in their business or whatever, if it's a walk-in business. Okay, all right.
Talk to him, find out.
Okay, now bottom line, how many of you are willing to do some of this? Or do you, okay, I can call you individually and say, can you do this, and that would be okay? All right. And also, as far as the contributions that will have to come forward, we'll have Linda's,
And you can use it for whatever you want. I mean,
Okay.
I'll just tell them that it's to help pass the senior level.
okay,
We'll see how much the cost is with the printing, paper,
Okay.
and whatever else, and then if it's something we have to divvy up, or everybody give what they can.
okay, that would work. I have no idea, you don't have any idea of how much, or how many the mayor sent out to you? Neither. No. Last time I sent out to everybody, it was a couple thousand between the printing and the mailing, so it's not cheap.
And who did that go to? Did it go to everybody or just all the registered voters? Who had
Registered
voted?
voters.
Yeah.
And the mayor missed. He sent them to, and I don't know if it was the mailing house or whatever, but a lot of registered voters did not get it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Mr. Brownlee sent his out either, but there was a scattering of the people that did not get it.
Mhm.
I heard a lot, people who did and people who didn't. And that didn't, there were registered voters in both cases that
Could be a
didn't
sprint.
get it.
I heard the same thing.
Yeah.
Registered people didn't get it.
That's
Odd.
I
very
didn't
You
get
see, then that's
I heard
money
that.
down the tubes. I think if we do the ads in the smaller papers, if we do, even if it's every week doing, I would rather take that 2,000 and put it in print and paying people or walking or talking instead of having it thrown away. And then to also, on the flyer, we should be able to either put a little post-it note on there or like a mailing label that, or else just list the dates that we are going to be doing stuff. But then we're going to be doing stuff in our own individual districts. So maybe on the flyer, and I'm just wondering if there's a box that we could leave empty, that we could put our own handwriting or poster in, or post-it note, sticker, something. So like if I would canvass my entire couple of streets because I want to do a meeting, the 4 meetings are on there, but my date's not on there. To leave a little bit of a space on there for like if we wanted to do something personally. Does that make sense or no?
sounds a
I've
little
got my own
confusing.
tags for that.
Yeah, you do. Well, could you also make sure that you send information to Kathy so she can put it on a big we can have a calendar just for this particular cause, and if there's anything coming up that you're aware of, there's a meeting at, whatever, a meeting at the library of certain people, and maybe we could pop our heads in and do something. If we could do that, just anything, I'll ask her to make up a calendar just for
Right.
that
And we
purpose.
should all come up with
Some
what
things.
we're gonna do
Mhm.
to give to you, so that you have an idea of what's being covered in what district and what might be lacking where, or who might need help.
Mhm.
Edwina, so let's just say, for example, you have a very strong block watch and so does Richard. So possibly he might have a volunteer on each street to go ahead and pass out literature. But that might free him up, and maybe some of those people may not be opposed to helping me, let's just say. So then that would be, because maybe I could only get 10 instead of 25 people. So, I mean, it's still working for a citywide issue, because it's not just district oriented.
I could have the seniors walk the districts, but they have to have the election next year.
They're not that slow. They're not that, they're not.
Might
Power
take-
wheelchairs.
Yeah.
Come
There you
on.
go. There you go.
Take
tires.
somebody in a power
Mm.
wheelchair
See?
and rent one of the megaphones while people still have their windows open.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye.
Well, if we get
You know,
our,
I shouldn't say this name out loud in this building, because I'll get, but in the last mayoral campaign, not the last one, the one before that, so we know who that is, and he won. He bought cups from, styrofoam cups, and he had stickers made, just stickers. And the stickers said, vote for whatever, they said what the thing was, had them put on the cups, and took them to the American Legion, took them to and donated the cups.
That's
And so
you.
every time
About a quarter of us are
Yeah, it's
Maple
smart.
Heights, rest is.
Well, I'm just
outside.
saying, but a number of people, they took them everywhere, to the, you know, like you said, touching the churches. They have coffee and donuts on Sunday morning. So everybody that picked up a cup saw
We're handing on it.
his
They
name
did,
and
actually.
vote for.
You know
for-
what? We've got, McDonald's is going to be having a grand opening shortly.
Oh, I'm sure they'd love that on their cups.
He might be.
Do we know the issue numbers for these yet?
No, we don't even know
No,
that yet.
not yet.
Because when Halloween time, and I know that's really cutting it close to election time, for my election, I had Dum Dum Suckers, and I took a mailing label and printed out, it was so hard to figure this part out, just printed out on the half of the mailing label,
Mhm.
like Tony Jones, but if I had a bigger name, forget it. So that just fit on there, and the other part I was able to loop around the stick, and I gave that out for Halloween. I gave that out to everybody. And it was just like you got a sucker, and you had to take the label off to open the
That's why there are so many 8-year-olds going to vote.
No, that's why everybody has cavities now.
Oh.
But I mean, it's just little things. I mean, people do like to get things, you know? I
They
mean,
do.
you know, we can't do, you know,
We need the literature
If-
first.
if
Yeah,
we
let's
don't
get
have
rid of
money,
the
and if we're gonna be doing these glossy, beautiful things, they're gonna know, well, if you don't have the money, how did you afford to do this?
So we should make it look black and
Those
white
two
and cheap.
sides.
Yeah,
You know?
look at the sizes.
Pouring money into
Off the top
something
of
that's
my
just
head.
gonna be thrown away, I think it just needs to be very basic, and I would prefer just doing flyers. I mean, I could buy paper, geez, right now it's back to school, we could get reams of paper cheap, even color paper. Color paper sticks out, not on black and white.
Can we use the city copy machine?
No.
No.
As a governor.
Okay, Brothers is 4.5 cent a copy.
That's what, is that who you use?
Who's that?
Brothers.
Brothers, yes.
4.5
4.5
cent.
cents per copy?
4.5 cent. Last time I did.
Is it printed?
No, you have it made up, you take it in,
And he'll print it
print it up.
per copy?
Just copy.
Xerox printed.
Xerox.
Mhm.
Okay, I
It's more
have,
than
I
that.
have I have actually 6 Xerox companies that are bidding on, us to get a new copy machine. I say, give me 500 copies, give me 20, you guys.
Then 5 of them are gonna get the job, they're gonna be mad.
No, I mean, these guys, we deal with them all the time, and they still support us through some events and stuff, but if I tell them if I gave you paper, if you guys would run these off, they would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I know. I've been
Well, I
in
need
Yeah.
1,300
purchasing
of them,
a big copy or two.
every house. That's the way I'll do it.
Wait,
Okay.
1,300 is 2 reams. Before you start getting spaz in here, that's not a lot
Yeah, it's
there.
only, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're thinking a lot of paper, it's 500 in a ream, okay, I'm sorry,
$8.
2.5 maybe, yeah.
yeah,
So
2.5.
you're talking a nominal cost.
All right, now,
And you could always cut them in half if you wanted to do a smaller flyer.
That's why I say we gotta get the material before we start talking what you're gonna put out.
well, let's see if we can pull this together by the middle of
Yeah.
next week.
Now, how much money we gonna put in?
Well, we won't know until we decide what we're gonna do. We're talking
Yeah.
about an ad for the paper, we're talking about a glossy mail out to registered voters, and we're also
You
talking
said the word
about,
glossy?
well, glossy, classy, how about classy? Black and white.
You're asking me for money and I'm gonna get a beautiful piece of literature. I would
Well,
say get
I know I
really
heard
money.
you, no, I definitely heard you, and that's why I'm asking, what's the preference here? What
I
is-
would go with a glossy, either
No, not necessarily,
We'll see what,
take the glossy out, just a
see what
mailer,
he comes
a
up
mailer,
with.
flyer.
See what he,
or a flyer that you're going to distribute on your own.
The more colors you have, the more expensive it is.
Sure.
But that's the question, do you agree with Tony's assessment, or just door-to-door flyers on your own?
I say, well, door to door for me. You know, walking, knocking, talking.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather do the flyers in community forum, I think personally, than having a citywide mailer. I don't know if that would work or not.
Yeah, but
We
It's
all
just
can
gonna
do it
get
on the same
lost.
day.
It's gonna get
See, all
lost
the
in the
council people
same.
are out. Did your council person
Mailer
come
would be fine,
on the same day?
'cause I don't have the block watch support or anything like that.
Okay, you do your email, though,
Yeah.
you're online, okay. And Ron, what's your?
Well, my preference is a mailer only because I just can't get to every door.
Mm.
And I don't know if I could, get enough people to make sure I get them distributed. If I can, and I'll start working on that, I'll go door to door, but if not, a mailer in my district.
There are the books from the Board of Elections, and we all have the CDs that shows you the addresses
Yeah.
of all of the registered voters.
We need to get that, make sure.
The other
everybody has
thing-
that.
Well, you print it on him
Mhm.
I don't have one.
Questions?
You get that.
The recent one, you
I didn't
could
get one
just
from
ask.
last.
They could actually email it to you.
Yes, okay. Okay, so definitely newspaper, definitely some kind of door-to-door, and then some kind of a mailer. Okay, so I'll get busy on the language, okay? And,
There'll be 7 of us, including Richard minus Bill. So whatever the expense is, I mean, if it's divided by 7,
mhm,
I would probably say at least $300-400 a person
okay.
if we do this, if you want to know the reality of it.
And we don't have a choice.
I don't have an issue
We
with
don't have a
that.
choice.
I don't have an issue with $300 or
Okay.
$400.
And I will call the chamber, and then if there's any other organization that you think might be, I mean, feel free to. And then do the calendar for Kathy, as you get your block watch. I do think Richard has a block watch coming up on the 20th, he said, hopefully. And if you have anything else going on, that would be helpful.
I send a lot of letters out in my district,
Mhm.
and I get a lot of feedback, well, like, besides the thank you and all this other stuff, but anything I could do to help, whatever. So I would call those people, and a lot of them I talked to, but then I found out it took too long for me to pass out the letters, because half our house just didn't cut it. But I have a good group of people, I think that would either, I don't like a phone call thing, but they have kids, or they would probably distribute, at least on their street.
Mhm.
And that would help tremendously. People want to start walking and having walking clubs and stuff. It's like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, we need literature by the 24th for the first form.
Correct. Oh, absolutely. We'll have something together by the middle of next week.
one thing that we're kind of missing, and unfortunately, I don't know how or if we're going to do this, but we have nobody to cover Bill's district, and are we going to be able to, anybody want to pass out flyers there? Because I'm sure he's going to circulate the whole entire city, or I heard
With
he already is
negativity,
in
right.
other districts. Well, I'm not jabbing here. I'm not.
No, I understand.
I'm just saying that, you know, we have somebody here that's gonna work just as hard as we are, and
Well,
That's
he's
why
gonna
I
get
just
the
stopped.
people, he'll get the people that's against the levy. And then when we talk to him, we just tell him we think he's wrong. He's gonna do the same thing with us. He's your opposition.
Well, but
During the
we've got
election, same thing,
we've
your
got
opposition.
6 people working positively, and I think that's the most important
And
thing.
then what we could do is do our area, and if we got time, we all get together, call a date, then we go to Bill's district and branch out.
okay, but this is what I would like to just say, with my back to the camera. If I had opposition when I'm running, and I talked to a person that was thinking of running against me, we both agreed that we would just have a clean, just the facts race. If we could agree, since we're putting out the literature, Bill, if you're listening, to have it clean, this is the facts, because Bill, you have your own facts that you might want to promote. We have our facts we want to promote. I would hate to see, I don't want to see attacking, I don't want to see, well, you did this, or I don't want to see belittling anybody. We're out here and we're on different sides, and we're going to see what the people vote on.
The facts are the
But I'm
facts.
not gonna go to somebody's house that might
That's
be
right, we're
holding
gonna
a
watch.
Bill flyer and say,
Yeah.
the guy's an idiot, why are you even reading
No.
that? That's not the point. The point
No.
is, you have 2 pieces of paper, possibly, you're an intelligent person, you read both, and you see what's more convincing. And I would prefer just to have it clean and not to have a lot of rhetoric and not to have any slamming going on.
Well,
Because in
nobody's
the
even
end,
considering
we
that
still
tonight.
need to work
There's no
together.
point.
Well, I feel like I just have to say that.
Okay.
Because I understand, because we're like confusing the voters, really. If Bill go out there and say negative, and we go out there and
And it
say
may not just
positive
be
stuff.
Bill, it
No,
could be
just-
residents
I'm
that are
not picking on
supporting
Bill.
and not
Yeah,
supportive of
no,
the
no,
levy.
yeah.
I'm not, and believe me, I didn't mean to pick on you being the headmaster of all of it, although you may. That was a mistake, sorry. But it's still the thing. I mean, we have 2 opposing views in anything that we present. And let's just see, what we have to do is find the people in the gray area, those are the people that need to be swayed.
But if we have a form, can we have positive and negative? I mean, why he's against, why somebody is against the levy and why people are for it.
That's his responsibility.
Okay, because we go,
And we,
Well, then
I'm
it
sorry,
wouldn't be
District
called a
7.
forum, you'd have to call it a rally. Because a
Okay.
forum, I think, in my definition, probably, and you, thank you for bringing that up, I think is the positive and the negative, it's both sides.
because I'm telling you guys, District 7, the majority of people in District 7, oh, they just so mad at me about these doggone cameras. And it might not go on the ballot. So, and you guys think they gonna go and pass a levy?
again, you're back to the facts.
It's real, Ryan.
But there's not two sets of facts. There's only one set of facts. Okay? Now, you can look at those facts and twist them, but the facts are still the facts. And the fact is, the city needs income.
They know that?
Is that a fact?
That's
They have
a fact.
ideas. They have ideas.
But
The
no,
fact
what I'm saying
is, if
when
we
I
don't
go
get-
out there, I have people out there talking against me. I mean, that's just how it is in District 7 right now.
I do too.
Right, I mean, and they really beat me up in District 7. I'm just telling you.
Well, that's why I said you concentrate on the forms, you present the case of
That's right.
why we need it, this is what it's gonna cost you, and you leave it at that, and you leave the voters decide, because that's what it comes down to. It's not the spin, it's not the negativity or positive.
Right.
You just say, hey, this is it, this is what it's gonna cost you, $50,000, it's gonna cost you $22 a year or something, and you leave it at that.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, that's what these are for. This is the information that they want. This is the information they're
And
gonna
then make a good
get.
decision.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's
an educated
informational,
decision. If
exactly.
they want that information, they will come out and get it, or they will talk to somebody about it.
We'll probably have a candidates forum, and if we have that, then it'll give both sides the opportunity to be there,
Okay.
if, they wanna come.
You haven't scheduled that yet?
I have not, no.
Right. Okay, and don't forget, we have the NOCA thing coming up, which might be interesting to see other people who are in the same streets that we are.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, and Alex thinks it was a couple of Fridays ago, there was an article in the Plain Dealer. I did look it up, I cut it out. And it kind of listed a lot of the other suburbs. And they all
There's 6
are
or
in,
7 of them that
yeah,
have
they're all
levies.
going through the same thing. They're all talking about the same thing, cutting trash, cutting police, cutting this, cutting that. And so we're not in this alone. It's not like Maple Heights and the council of Maple Heights these years ago was the only suburb that went out and for whatever reason and everything else that happened ended up in debt. Again, the fact is we are in debt. If we took all of our income and spend it on our expenses, we would be in the hole. We would still owe money that has to be paid. And the fact is, without it, the services that we think are lean now are going to be leaner. Is that correct English?
Leaner?
Leaner.
More lean.
More lean. And if we have a bad winter, it's going to be leaner.
No.
It's more lean.
No,
Most
you're gonna be-
lean.
Most leaner.
You're gonna be leaning over in the wheelchair trying to get down the street.
Yeah, but Ron, if you also finish reading that whole article, they also said that it's almost like, not in so many words, but it's like the state was like putting us to the test. They have reduced funding to everybody, and now it's just like, okay, you don't have this. How do you say, deal with it?
Tough. That's what they're telling you, tough.
But they're also saying that there's ways to consolidate certain, like we did the dispatch
Did you see
center.
that was the
But there are
forum.
some things that we can't do because of either charter or because of unions or because of tax bases. If we wanted to merge and do something with Garfield, and their taxpayers would have to agree with our taxpayers in order to combine certain different services, I asked Papalarchik or I asked the fire chief, I'm not sure which one I did, but could we combine like police forces or something like that? 2 separate different unions. So there's a lot of things, although we might think of doing, and this was like the dirty word a long time ago, was the regionalism that everybody was trying to shoot down. It's almost like it's being forced upon us, but there's a lot of give and there's a lot of negotiation that we need to do with the people that surround our borders in order to make sure that we all survive. And that is not a quick fix, and that is gonna take a long time.
That's years, and we got an example of that that's been going on for the last few years. And I love it that the state holds your money back and then tells you what you need to do. You don't hear the state of Ohio talking about merging with Michigan or Indiana.
Well, they're in the black right now because they took all our money.
That's what I'm
They
saying.
have a
And
very
Casey could say,
healthy
look what I did, look what I did, look at all this money I got in my rainy day fund. So you never says where that money came
Well,
from.
the county has a pretty hefty rainy day fund too.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Both of them.
Linda,
The interesting thing is that there are surveys, people have been telling me that there are phone surveys coming for the election. And they called my house and 6 questions regarded the local government fund. 6 questions,
I got that
because they know that, did you get that? And because they know that that's it's a big issue because so many people, and it's way different if you look at those suburbs that were cut and you see a suburb like Westlake or a suburb like Solon who's bringing in industry and that cut could be the same percentage as ours, but it's gonna hurt us a whole lot more. But it seems to be on the front line now of what people are talking about. So the survey was heavily asking my opinion about the local government fund.
right. They just had something in the paper, I think it was one of the forum things that talked about the rationale and how many millions and millions of dollars have been cut over the years. In fact, I did clip that article out, and the forum person who works downstate with Mr. Basic said, well, it was to encourage people to cooperate and alter and regionalize. So that's why the new governor cut all of those funds, which was absolutely.
BS.
Then we had
Well, I
to,
was gonna get more explicit.
Okay.
we had property
Well,
taxes
you're on
too.
camera, I don't want you to go there. On
Yeah,
camera.
but see, we're always going back to the past of what happened. We get it, we got screwed.
Mhm.
Now we have to figure out, and this is gonna be the hard part. Who's gonna be the first one to approach any of these other suburbs to sit down and see, is it mayor to mayor, is it council to council? What can we do? Where are you hurting, where are we hurting, and how can we do something like this? And that's gonna be tough.
Look at Brook
Because
Park.
we could still agree with another council of what to do, but we have to take that to the voters, because it's their taxpayer money.
Well, you know, they
Do
did.
you want our taxpayer money to help something in Garfield?
But you know
That's not
what?
why I'm paying
When you
taxes.
start talking about regionalism, let's say we regionalize our police department. So what don't we need? We're gonna get rid of one chief, one lieutenant, and something else. You ain't talking about $200,000. We're
But
talking
you're
about
talking
millions of
about
dollars that we in the
two
debt.
unions.
Okay, so you're 400,000, you're still 2 million
You're
in the
talking
hole.
about different health care from
Well,
each
yeah.
city. There's a lot involved in it. I mean, we're talking, we don't even know the depth of some of the problems this is gonna open up, and it's gonna take, like you said, a lot of conversation, a lot of negotiation, and where can we start smaller? Because that's the end result of what they want us to do.
I don't think,
And is it annexing? I
I
mean,
don't
is
think
it
Let me ask you,
coming,
some
Maple,
people-
Garfield, Bedford?
would be.
I mean, but how long is that gonna take?
Okay,
Was
we-
Bill, is that one of the
How much
things
did you
we're-
save on consolidating the dispatchers?
Not, we haven't saved anything yet.
This is something that
We
that
are
you're
going to
leaning toward,
say-
Bill?
Yeah,
What's that?
The consolidation and the regionalism?
Well, just on a side note, this is beyond the extent of our notice for what
Oh, thank you.
we've discussed.
Oh, this is off the agenda.
So-
so can we adjourn the meeting? And then we can talk about anything we want to talk about?
That won't get you out of the sunshine law.
As
Huh?
soon as he leaves.
If we're not talking about an issue, it's not.
You're talking about consolidating forces with other cities. That's an issue.
I want to talk about the Cavaliers and Mr. Love coming to play basketball.
Well, that's fine.
Mr. Who?
Yeah.
Didn't
Mr.
he have a
Love.
zero? Did you
Is
adjourn
that the
the
guy from
meeting, please?
Minnesota?
Yeah.
If I could see the clock, please.